Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Marian and I'm a Nigerian currently living here in Japan. I've been studying here for the past months. I think I'll be 1 year in Japan by next month. Wow. That was fast. Anyway, yes, I'm a Nigerian currently studying and living here in Japan. If you're a new subscriber, thank you so much for stopping by. And if you are an old subscriber, thank you so much for sticking with me. Okay, so on this vlog, I would be answering the question that says, can you work and pay your fees here in Japan as an international student? Yes. And if you think this is a topic you would love or enjoy, please stay tuned. Okay, so on today's topic, I will be I divided into 6 different segments, which is first I will start with the introduction. I will start with, and then I go to the question, which is, can you work and pay your fees as an international student in Japan? And then I will talk about possible income on an average for foreigners, and then I will talk about the possible kind of job you can get in Japan as a foreigner, and then I'll talk about the daily life struggle. I'll summarize and then I'll conclude. If you think this is actually what you are interested in knowing, please stay with me to the end. So let me start quickly with the introduction. So yes, my name is Marian once again, and I am a Nigerian living here in Japan for the past 11 months. I think I'll be 1 year by next month, yeah. And I'm currently doing a 2 years program here in Japan. And on my channel, I do talk about my daily life struggle, my life generally in Japan. Now, sometimes I do share tips about life in Japan or what to expect when you are in Japan, especially for foreigners from Africa. So second is the question, can you work and study here in Japan? I think I need to talk about the daily life income, the daily expenditures, the kind of possible job you can get as a foreigner before I can dive into the question. So firstly, let me move to possible income. So if you're staying at the countryside, there is every possibility that the kind of job that you get is ranges from 800 yen to 1,000 yen or 1,200 yen, if I'm not mistaken, at maximum 800 yen to 1,200 yen. And if you're staying at the town, which is Tokyo, for example, or Tokyo or maybe Kyoto or somewhere in Osaka. I think Osaka too is very developed, yeah. So maybe for Tokyo, which is where I stay, the payment ranges from 1,500 yen to 3,000 yen, right? So you can weigh the two. At the countryside, the hourly rate ranges from 800 yen to 1,200 yen, and at the countryside, the hourly pay ranges from 1,500 yen to 3,000 yen, depending on the kind of job you do. Because most, especially foreigners in Japan, the kind of job they usually do is either teaching job or working in a factory. Reasons might be because of the language barrier or not having enough experience. But if you're into tech and maybe you are into networking or maybe you came with a working visa, I think it's a different ball game on its own, right? But if you came with a student visa, the kind of job you can easily get, it's either teaching job or working in a factory. And if you're staying at the countryside, whereby you earn 800 yen to 1,200 yen, and you need to also pay your rent. Of course, rent at the countryside is usually very much more affordable compared to rent here in Tokyo. So, and you need to pay your rent, you also need to pay your phone bill, your water bill, your light bill, and also save some certain money for your personal use. You also have to buy clothing and all. So you can imagine. Then if you're staying in Tokyo, The pay is a bit higher, just as the rent pay. So the rent pay ranges from 40,000 yen to 60,000 yen, especially for people that just came, that is trying to settle. 40,000, 60 to 70,000 yen at most. I don't know for I cannot speak for anybody, but for me, based on my past experience, yeah, and from people around me also. So for example, in Japan, the schools are differentiated into different segments. For example, they have the national university, they have the local public university, and then the private university. I'm so sorry if you see me looking down. I'm trying to look at the notes I jotted down. So the national university ranges from 500,000 yen to 820,000 yen, you know, and then the local public university ranges from 600,000 yen to 900,000 yen, and then the private university ranges from 500,000 yen to 1 million yen. I mean, a private university, right? So again, it depends on the kind of program you are doing, or it depends on your school or the field you are. So yes, if you are earning, and again also it depends if you are at the countryside or the town, which like maybe Kyoto or Tokyo or wheresoever. So where you are staying differs, the kind of program you do differs, the kind of school you are, it differs. Okay, let me talk about the possible kind of job you can get here in Japan. As a foreigner in Japan, most of the time, the kind of job you can get here, it's either teaching job or factory job, where you can work in a factory, right? And then teaching job where you can teach kids English. Reasons because of the language barrier, maybe, or maybe not having enough experience, right? So if you are doing teaching job, if you're doing a teaching job in Japan, maybe at the town, and you are earning from 1,500 to 3,000 yen, yes, it's very much possible for you to be able to save up some certain things, right? And be able to pay your fees and then stay okay. Some schools do offer support. They have some support, like scholarship support. Even if you're not a scholarship student why you came, there's a possibility you can get a scholarship within the line. So yeah, if you're lucky enough, there's a possibility you can get scholarship along the line. So yes, it is very much possible. But if you are staying at the countryside, I think sometimes the countryside, the chances of getting scholarship is really good. Yes, back to the possible kind of job. Yes, it's either you teach English or factory job. Factory job, you don't need to speak to anybody. You just have to be good at whatever you are doing at the factory, right? You just have to show the strength and show you're capable of doing it. So you don't need to speak. It's not like you cannot speak, or you can speak, but it is not a necessity, right? And if you're doing teaching job in Japan, of course it's in English. If your work environment, it's basically in English. So again, Japanese is not really needed as an English teacher. And let me tell you, you cannot work in a convenience store. You cannot do cleaning job. Cleaning job requires you knowing the language. I think the basic thing for anyone that is planning to come to Japan is to learn the language. The language plays a major role, especially for people that wants to stay in Japan for a very long time. Learn the language. But if you think that the language is not something you can learn under a jiffy, then it's either you think about working in a factory or doing a teaching job. That is it. But if you're into tech, or you can network very well, maybe, I don't know, I cannot speak for anybody again, maybe there's a possibility that things can blow up for you. But if you have zero expectation, you just want to try that and see how it is, or I mean, it's not a bad option. Coming to Japan is not a bad option, especially it has other benefits, right? But on this particular topic, it's not impossible, but you have to put in a lot of work. That is my point. You have to put in a lot of work. Sometimes it's not easy as it sounds, you know. It is not. So let me not get too emotional. So yeah, it depends on the kind of job you do, it depends on your program, it depends on the school you are in. You know, I think the best way to come to Japan is to come via working visa, or maybe come as a scholarship student. I mean, working visa is okay, but then coming as a student, it's still okay. It has its own benefits. For example, you have to pay the lesser health insurance. You have to pay the lesser rates because you're an international student. It has its own benefits too, right? But paying your school fees and working as an international student is not impossible. It is possible, but then it's very, very difficult. That's my point. But so far in general, I think I'm moving to summary. So far in general, it has been an amazing experience. I struggled, I'll not lie to you, I struggled very well. I did. Me in person, I did. But so far it has been an amazing experience. I don't think I struggled not just because I'm in Japan. I think life in general, you have to struggle, you have to put in a lot of work. For most people, I cannot speak for everybody. I'm speaking based on my personal experience, right? So you have to put in a lot of work, and for you to study and work in Japan and pay your fees, yes, it's possible. But it's not as fast as it sounds. It is not. You have to put in some work. You cry, you wipe your tears, you put in work, you know. Well, again, as a student, you are opportuned to work for 28 hours per week. So if you work 28 hours per week and you earn a very good income, maybe from 1,500 to 3,000 yen, of course you will be able to pay your fees. And then not just pay your fees, because after paying your fees, you need to pay for your house rents, which ranges from 40,000 to 70,000, 60 to 70,000. You have to pay your phone bill, which ranges from 3,000 yen to 6,000 yen, depends on how you use it. And then you have to pay for your water bill, you have to pay for the electricity, you have to do other expenditures. You're a human being, of course you need to eat, you need to buy clothes, you need to buy shoes, and not just buy and pay. You would also want to save something, right? So yeah, it's a whole lot on its own. It is, trust me, it's a whole lot on its own, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. I mean, you're trying to acquire some knowledge, that is why you're going to the university, and not just that, of course you need to pay for it, but easy. It is very, very difficult. It is, but it is possible. So if you've been thinking about it, that maybe you applied for a scholarship and it was not granted, or you were not lucky enough, please keep on trying. At the same time, try self-funding route. It is possible for you to be able to work and study in Japan as an international student and also pay your fees. So yes, it is very, very possible, but it is not easy as it sounds. It is not easy as it sounds. So you have to put in a lot of work for you to be able to do it. So if you think you're courageous enough and you think you can do it, I keep on telling myself that I think if I can do it, every other person can, right? That is what I keep on telling myself. It's not that it has been easy or a bed of roses for me. It's just that I think I got to understand things differently by understanding that life its own has its way. So do not be discouraged if scholarship wasn't possible for you and coming to Japan has always been a prayer point for you, and if you see yourself in Japan it will be a dream come true, then try being a self-funding student and my tips is try and see if you can apply for schools at the countryside. Maybe there's this university, I don't know, I've forgotten the name, but I'll paste it on the description bottle or on the screen. Try the universities at the countryside. I think it's a way much cheaper. Yes, universities at the countryside are way more cheaper, and most times chances of getting scholarship, if you meet the requirements, chances of getting scholarship, it's on the high edge. Yeah. So but then if these scholarship routes didn't work, try self-funding. Also, universities at the countryside or even in Tokyo, you can never tell. You just have to comprise the kind of school, the kind of work, or the kind of subject, or the kind of course you want to study, and then think about the location, and then check your budget. So if you think this countryside is your budget, good. If you think the being in Tokyo or anywhere around the town is the budget, that is good. But the possibility of you working and paying your school fees, it's possible. Again, you have to put in a lot of work. Well, I think that is all from me on this vlog. I'm trying to keep it very short so it doesn't get boring. Yeah, that is all from me about this. So if you have any question or anything you would like to know more about studying in Japan or my life in Japan, please do not forget to drop a message, a comment below, or you can also send me an email, or you can follow me on Instagram and drop a message on my DM. Thank you so much if you've been with me from the beginning of this video till now. Thank you so much. I so much appreciate your support, your kindness, your support in general. Thank you. It means so much to me. I will see you on the next video. Thank you.